Hey guys, it's Josh here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to manage self-doubt and know when to walk away. This was a question that was given to me by one of my followers on Instagram. He asked me, how do I manage self-doubt and how do I know when to walk away? I've been in this marriage for 15, 20 years, but the love is just gone and there's really no spark there. He said it was quite depressing and causing a lot of anxiety, right, and mental health issues. And so this is actually something that's quite common. I hear this a lot from many different people where they're staying in relationships because they are doubting themselves. They're not sure if they should be in the relationship or not. Or it's the other way around where they have an attachment to the relationship, even though a part of them knows deep down that it's really not working or it's not really where it needs to be. And so in this video, I'm going to walk through the problem here, the solution, and also some skills that you can develop to start to move in the right direction. So firstly, the problem. The problem is self-doubt, and it's not knowing when to walk away. So it's kind of a confusion or a lack of clarity. That's really the biggest problem. And that's a problem mainly because you are too identified or attached to either your inner world of your thoughts and emotions or your outer world. So it's the relationship or the job or the friendship or the career, right? Now, both of those things can be a problem. If you're too attached and identified to your inner world, you will find it very hard to make sense of your thoughts and your feelings. You'll have these two different voices in your head. One will be telling you to do one thing and the other will be telling you to do another thing. And there's like a conflicting narrative. And then the other issue is if you have an attachment to the external world, and that will mean that you are essentially blinded by your infatuation with the person, the job, the career, the goal, whatever it is. Right? And that can also lead to a lack of clarity and really a strong sense of confusion in your life. So that's the main problem that people have. It's that they're just lacking clarity and that's causing them to doubt themselves. And this can happen when we're too close to either our inner world of thoughts and emotions or our outer world of attachments, right? Now, the solution for this is actually really simple, okay? Simple, but not easy. We need to learn how to gain some clarity in our mind, okay? And we need to understand ourselves more deeply. What I mean by this is that we need to really know thyself, right? You need to know thyself. And how you know thyself is through building self-awareness. You've got to really understand who you are. You've got to get clear on who you are because you are the unchanging factor. Okay, all these things can happen in your life, but you are the main character. And if you don't know who you are, then you're going to really struggle to make sense of the world around you. So how do we know who we are? Well, one of my favorite things to do, one of my favorite skills that I work on developing daily is the habit of meditation and self-reflection. Right? If you can't even sit still with yourself for 10 minutes, how do you expect to know yourself? If you feel uncomfortable every time you're alone, this is showing that you don't know yourself or that you're not comfortable with yourself, right? You're not familiar with yourself. That's a pretty clear sign. Also, identifying your values in life, like what you really want from life, what's really meaningful for you specifically. We all have values in life and every single person is different and unique in their set of values, right? You'll see similarities and patterns across the board, but every single person has their own unique set of values. And, if you don't know what you value, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, is what they say. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, okay? So you've got to figure out what your values are and what you stand for. It makes it a hell of a lot easier to make decisions when you have a filter through which to make those decisions. And understanding and knowing your values is like the filter that you can use to make your decisions about, do I stay, do I go, is this for me, is this not for me? When you're able to clearly just look at your own values and go, cool, yeah, this is for me because it aligns with my values, or this is not because it doesn't, makes it a hell of a lot easier to make your decisions, okay? And it makes it a hell of a lot easier to stop doubting yourself as well, because you've spent the time to get clear on who you are and what you value. And once you know yourself more deeply through developing those skills, it becomes infinitely easier to make decisions and to know what to do, to know whether or not to walk away. Now, it's not going to be necessarily easy, because when you get to know yourself more deeply and when you start to become aware that there's things in your life that are not in alignment with who you want to be, you might have to make some changes. And if you've become so comfortable with a certain way of living and then you all of a sudden change it and start doing something radically different, that's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be unfamiliar, right? And so you could also say it's going to be hard, right? It's going to be a hard thing to do, to change your environment, to do things differently, right? To let go of relationships, to walk away from things that aren't in alignment with you. However, you've got to ask yourself this question: which hard do I want to choose? Is it the hard that you're already living, which is just a life that's depressing and full of self-doubt and anxiety? Or do you want to choose the hard where you actually align yourself with your values so that you can go and live a more purposeful, meaningful, and fulfilling life? That's really the question you've got to ask yourself. And when it comes to your mindset around this, there's really two mindsets. I talked previously about the two different voices in your head. There's going to be this one voice that's generally trying to keep you safe, and this will be fear-based thinking. And it's not necessarily wrong or bad. Sometimes it can be quite healthy and helpful. However, you have to understand that you do have this fear-based thinking, and you also have a faith-based thinking. So this is more of a trusting way of thinking. So in your mind, in your mindset, when you're thinking about what to do, whether to walk away, whether to stay, when you notice yourself doubting yourself, just understand that you've got these two kind of different voices in your head. And not in like you're a crazy person kind of way, but just as a matter of fact way. You've got the voice that will be the voice of reason, right? And generally the fear-based survival, way of thinking. And again, it's not necessarily bad. Sometimes it's helpful. But then you've also got a faith-based thinking, right? Which is going to be generally more trusting, okay? And generally more expansive and more creative. One of them's for survival, one of them's for creation. We need both. But you've just got to learn to understand that about yourself, and you've got to learn to ask yourself that question. In this situation, which direction do I need to go? Am I just living out of fear and survival, or is there an opportunity for me to live a more creative life, right? And again, having that values hierarchy and understanding who you are, knowing yourself, knowing your values, is going to make all those decisions a hell of a lot easier. So if you found this video helpful and you'd like to learn more about yourself, your values, your mindset, then I have a community called the Mind Launch Community, and we have a monthly membership. You can join, cancel anytime. I'll put a link below this video, and I'd love to see you inside. Regardless, I hope you found this a helpful video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.